The phone that I'd seen in his hand was the woman's phone. He'd found it in her purse. He was trying to figure out how to order an Uber in the event that I didn't wake up. It just happened to be the perfect guys in the moment. I gave a statement to the officers who hauled him off. I suspected he spent a couple of weeks drying out in a jail cell. I probably don't need to say this, but remember to lock your car doors, people. A year before COVID hit, I got hired at a call center way downtown, like inner city. We worked taking calls for a roadside assistance company that will remain anonymous. Although honestly, the last time I looked them up, I couldn't even find a website for them. They may or may not even be in business anymore. Anyway, because of the nature of our industry, our office operated 24 hours a day. It wasn't this big private call center, but just a ground level corner unit in a commercial office block. We shared a building with 10 or 12 other businesses. All of them would operate during normal hours. At 5 p.m., the whole parking lot cleared out, and the only light on would be coming from our place. It had no signage and a keypad on the door for around-the-clock access. We would trade shifts at 4 p.m., midnight, and 9 a.m., usually in two-man teams, sometimes 3 or 4 throughout the week or on holiday weekends. The overnight shift was typically just one guy, Benji, but holiday weekends, they'd put 2 of us from midnight to 9 a.m. So there we were. I think it was Labor Day weekend, and it's Benji and I handling the phones on a Friday overnight shift. I didn't ever mind getting these shifts because honestly, I love working with the guy. He was a little older than me and has some of the craziest stories that I've ever heard. He grew up inner city, kind of a criminal, but got cleaned up and was looking to break into the music business. I was into drawing and illustration, and he liked looking at whatever I was working on at the time. We'd just hang out until the sun came up. We'd even troll people on the phone if they were spamming or dodging the line. Looking back now, it was a lot of fun in those dark hours and a lot of daydreaming. One night we ordered Domino's, split a pizza and some Cinesticks. Legendary meal for a couple of call room guys. Little did I know in my early 20s that I was slowly becoming lactose intolerant, so all of that cheese and butter would send my stomach and my colon into hysterics. We ate around midnight, talked, and then worked until about 1:30 a.m. And then I started catching the gurgles. By 2 a.m., I knew something was about to happen, out of one end or the other. I clued Benji into what was going on so he could watch the phone line for me. I slipped out the door, which was the only way in and out of the office. There was no secondary escape, no back door, just a big panel window in the back. In hindsight, the office almost seemed illegal. Lots of things within the operation were just shady as hell. As you can imagine, because there's so many office units, we also share a single pair of bathrooms. They were on the ground floor, and they were external, as in the doors were open to the public. Everyone who worked there had a key to either open one door or the other. They were all the way down one of these stretch of businesses, about 40 feet, and then around a corner and tucked into a little back nook of a second floor. This kept them out of sight so no randoms or weirdos tried to use them and or vandalize them. I go in, struggling with my unbeknownst to me digestive issues, and then wash up. As I'm looking into the mirror, I hear someone push on the door from the outside. I laugh and yell something out, as I assumed it was Benji just messing with me. There was no response except for a couple of hard whacks against the metal. Weird, but I had been in there forever, so again, I think Benji is just being funny. I open the door. There's no one there. I step out and wander down the little hallway, but instead of continuing on to the office, I hook left and go out to a small secondary parking lot. It's out in the back. It's where the dumpsters are, as well as this little outdoor area. As I step into the parking lot, I hear feet slapping the asphalt, running at me from some direction. Now I know something weird is going on. I turn and bolt back for the office. I'm sprinting and about to fall face first into the cement, but catch myself on the handle just in time. I start to punch in the code and immediately get it wrong. It's flashing red. I have to wait 5 seconds for it to reset. All I can hear is my heart, my breathing, and these flapping feet out there in the dark. I jiggle the handle and scream for Benji. I'm banging on the door. Suddenly I realize I've switched positions. Now it's me outside being the scary, chaotic thing, and I can see him through the blinds looking over his shoulder. He's on the phone, which is flashing red on 3 ports. It apparently picked up while I was handling my business. I turn and start banging on the glass, begging him to get up. I see him hit the hold button, swing the chair around, and rush over to the door. He pushes it open, I spill in, and he slams it right shut again. Breathless, I tell him what had just happened to me. I'm expecting Benji to freak out, lock the extra bolt on the door, and tell me to call the police. Nope, the exact opposite happened. He rolls up his sleeves and steps out into the cool night air. The person was lurking around at the end of the building, where it turned for the bathroom nook. They were barefoot, drug-addled, your average homeless fella in our city. I watched from the threshold of the office door as Benji pigeon-chested this guy and gave him the stern "get the hell out of here" stick. And sure enough, got the guy to tuck tail and run. What I perceived as a serial killer, Benji immediately pegged for just a hobo tweaker. Like I said, he was a hard-ass inner-city dude. He had a colorful history, bit of a rap sheet. I was very grateful to have him by my side every time I went down in that office. We ran into that lurking creep a few more times and honestly had all kinds of crazy experiences while working there. There was a 7-Eleven right across the street that would get robbed, roadside calls where people were shot, even one of our drivers, and also a time we helped a guy escape a cult compound by towing his car off of their property. I've never told these stories online, so if anyone is interested in them, just leave me a comment. Cheers.
So I've done a lot of driving for a few years now for many different reasons. Sometimes I drive to work and sometimes just to hang out with friends on the weekends. Being 25 years old, of course, I would most of the time go out partying on the weekends, which resulted in me having to drive places. The places I'd go to were mainly bars and clubs, so sometimes I'd end up driving really long distances for that. It was a weekend night, and I was driving home from one of my college friends' parties when I realized that I was low on gas. To be honest, I debated whether to get gas now or wait until tomorrow, but I knew that I'd probably forget. I pulled into one of my local gas stations down the road and filled up my car with a full tank. As I pay, waiting for my car to fill up, I noticed that it's relatively quiet around. This was strange, as this gas station was pretty popular with it being on the corner, especially for a weekend night. Once my car had been filled up, I go inside just to grab a quick snack when I notice a gas station attendant behind the counter. I give him a quick wave and go get a snack where I then bring it to the counter. Right away, I could almost tell that there was something off about this attendant. He didn't look like someone who would work at a gas station at all. What I mean by that is that in my city, gas station employees were required to wear uniforms. This guy wore a black hoodie and some sweatpants. Not wanting to pry and too tired to care, I tell him it was just the snack I wanted. Right away he said $2, not even scanning the item to be sure. I pull out $2 from my wallet and hand it to him, where he just pockets the money. Confused, I tell him to have a nice night while walking out when I hear someone scream, "Help me." That's when I turn to look at the attendant, where he's now pointing a gun at me, telling me to ignore that. Without hesitation, I basically storm out of the gas station, put the pump back, and floor it. All the while, I'm on the phone with the police, explaining what had happened and what gas station I had left from. As it turns out, police ended up going over, but unfortunately, the so-called attendant I saw was long gone. The actual attendant had been tied up behind one of the dumpsters, who was the one I heard screaming for help. He had been shot in the leg and hit in the head with a pipe, leaving him unconscious. This explains why I saw the other man with a gun. God only knows what would have happened had I confronted him or called the police then. However, I have the personality of a wimp at times, so I wasn't about to take him on or do anything stupid. A few weeks later, a couple's car got stolen while getting gas from another station from the next town over. They never got it back, even while looking for it. I'm still not sure if it was the same guy or not, as crime is slightly high around where I live. What I encountered was possibly one of the worst, if not the worst incident around where I live. That gas station had been closed for a good week or so before reopening again. It's been months now, and I'm still not sure if police managed to find whoever did this or if he's still out there. The description I gave wasn't as great, seeing as he had on a hoodie while also wearing a mask. This just goes to show you that even the most innocent places can be dangerous, especially at night. Nowadays, I always carry a pocket knife with me whenever I go out at night, just in case. Me nor my family go to that gas station anymore, due to the sheer paranoia of what happened.